What about formal instruction?
Excuse me, sir.
I took lessons for 2 years when I was a kid.
Need a pair of brand new jump cables?
Got some. Right in the back.
Yeah.
What were we? I forgot.
And lessons?
Oh yeah, I took lessons when I was probably for 2 years. Like when I was 11, I think I quit taking lessons. I learned how to play the wildwood flower by ear. A friend came to my instruction one day and asked the teacher if he could take me upstairs and let me show this kid something. And I said, okay, you take him up. I got his $3. Don't matter to me. And the guy said, here's how you play the wildwood flower, boy. And so I learned how to do that. And I said, well, hell, if I can play the wildwood flower, I can play anything I want. I have to read it, I can figure it out by ear. And so I quit taking lessons and started paying more close attention to the records and learned whatever I wanted.
Just off records, straight by ear.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, figure that.
And it also helps when you're listening to old 45s to have a record player that'll go down to 16 when you're trying to steal stuff off of Les Paul records, because sometimes he may have sped things up twice when you hear some of these fast things on his records. I'm still not sure of that, but so sometimes. Did
you do some of that on Redneck Jazz where you had 2 guitar leads?
Oh, plenty of that.
Yeah, was that?
I overdubbed a ton of stuff on that record. A lot of different guitar parts, banjo parts, steel parts.
And so you have an instructional video, right? You put out, I guess, a couple of years ago.
I didn't put it out. This company in New York called Professional Video. They put it out. I didn't even have one. I just got one a couple of weeks ago.
Are you serious?
We went to New York. I had some. I gave them all away. And then a guy came to the Hard Rock and said, here's one of your videos. I hear you didn't have one. I said, no, I didn't.
Oh, wow.
So he gave me one.
So can people still get those videos?
Yeah.
It was like some address in New York?
Yes, but I don't know what it is offhand, but it's usually advertised in Guitar Player or Guitar World. Has been for quite some time. But if not, Professional Video is certainly in the phone book. There's a guy named Jack Stone who sang, he may have written, but he definitely sang a song called We Like Short Shorts. You ever hear that one?
Sure have.
He's the guy that did that, Jack Stone. And he called me out of the blue. He'd never done a lesson video in his life.
Oh, yeah?
So here's a guy to make one on. Let's give it a shot. So we did, and it turned out real good. Good reviews.
So you've been featured in numerous publications, guitar magazines.
Just about everything I could get into.
And
we got background music too.
Harmonica Serenade.
Welcome to New Orleans.
Capital. Yeah, I've got some general questions for you. How does one categorize your style of playing guitar? What do you call yourself?
You can't. That's been the record industry's problem all these years.
You're just Danny Gatton, guitar player.
Play whatever I want to play.
That's just wonderful.
Which is not acceptable because you're not supposed to be able to do that. You're supposed to play one thing and that's all. My attention span is too short.
That's what's wonderful about listening to you play, especially here at Gallagher's, where you'll be playing something, a total traditional jazz lick, and then something spontaneous like Batman will come up in your mind. That's great.
It's all music, and it's all time. All music has meter, and it all has time, and there's no reason why you can't play anything you want over top of the time. If it's unorthodox, fine. Who says you can't do it?
So could you say that playing the wrong notes sometimes are the right notes?
Well, what do you call the wrong note? If you're jamming and you're ad-libbing on something, you can't really call it a wrong note because you can always find an outside chord somewhere that has that note in it that you could superimpose over top of the structure that's going on, and there it becomes borderline as to whether it's wrong or not.
I was always told to, if you make a mistake, make it twice.
Absolutely.
And it'll sound like...
Seriously.
I was told that stuff.
And sometimes it works great. Sometimes you'll say, wow, I wish I could remember the mistake.
What do you think of the new generation of guitar players?
I think most of them have no idea where it all started. I think most of the guys that learn how to play nowadays go out and buy a guitar and play heavy metal, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
They have not even a clue what it's all about, where it came from. A loud amp, nice fuzzy Marshall or something,
Mm-hmm.
and turn it up and let it eat. You know, if that's what they like, fine. You know,
Huh.
I'm not saying some of those guys can't play, because they sure can. Some of those guys are absolutely amazing, but personally, I don't like that. This ain't my bag. I'm still trying to get the old stuff the way it's supposed to be. And probably never will. You can't do everything. I mean, I do too many diversified things now. If I started getting into that, that would just be too much to handle.
Where would you draw the line in the musical evolution? 60s, early 60s?
Where did I quit?
Yeah.
Basically, probably the mid 60s. With jazz, that is. I have played top 40 music because I had to up to the mid 70s. After that, even, you know, but I don't like it.
The old
You do what you have to do, you know. If you got to pay the rent, play what they want to hear.
lounge gig.
Yes, right. If it's close to home and it pays good, I may be there. But I won't tell anyone.
So people like innovative guitars like Stanley Jordan.
Absolutely amazing. I saw him at Charlie's. It was disgusting. He was so good.
You like his style?
Phenomenal. For about 3 tunes I do, and then it kind of gets old because it all sounds the same. They never change tone, you know, he doesn't change his tone. But it's incredible what he does, absolutely incredible. But that's my fault, not his, because like I'm telling you, I get bored real quick.
So do you think the Telly is the perfect instrument to get different tones and sounds? Because that's basically what it comes down to.
No, there's other guitars that get more variants of sounds than a Telly. I mean, a Strat will get 5 distinctive sounds, where a Telly will only get 2, or 3 rather. A Telly just happens to fit my hand, the way the control layout is. And I don't like guitars with 3 pickups because the one in the middle gets in the way. I have a tendency to break my fingernails on it. And if I have broken nails, I'm in a world of trouble. I gotta have fingernails.
What year is that Telly?
53.
53. That's interesting.
Wonderful old axe with a big fat neck. The kind they don't make no more.
That's
they
true.
did.
Those rosewood.
Even the blonde necks, I mean, the reissues aren't anything like that. They all have real skinny necks.
Let's see what we can talk about here. Term redneck jazz. Does that come? I was told that it came from Jethro Burns, or it was coined as hillbilly jazz. Jethro Burns and Homer something. Where did that originate?
Redneck jazz? Evan Johns wrote a song called Redneck Jazz. That's where that started.
Well, the association with redneck being country and jazz, was that started with you? This association?
Redneck jazz, yeah. And then after a while, it got to be where some people thought that was a rather derogatory expression.
Yeah.
It had a tendency to offend certain ethnic groups, and we're not trying to offend anybody. So I said, well, why don't we just drop that, because I look like one, but I'm really not. I don't go out wearing a white hood and chasing people up and down the street or anything, you know, so we'll just call it music. So I figured I'd call this band the Fun House, because we have fun.